Hello and welcome to another episode of Kill the Small Talk, and I'm your host, Alex Caron. On this podcast, I interview guests from all walks of the entertainment industry, and we get down to the nuts and bolts. On this episode, I'm talking to my friend, David Conolly. He is an actor, comedian, and my former teacher. Here's the episode. Enjoy.
Hello.
Hello.
My
your
cat
cat's
has
tail?
just immediately decided to get... Cat has gone up. Great. Are we on? Are we live? Yeah. Cat wants to get involved.
Yeah. What's the key to comedy? Timing. That is it.
There you go. That was literally, we were recording. The cat I thought, I'll leave the cat here. Nothing's going to happen. And as soon as you said we're on, the cat went, oh, actually, I should get involved with it, shouldn't I?
Camera's like, ooh, camera.
Yeah.
That sounds like a bit like
cat.
us.
Yeah.
Hey, that's perfect irony. That's a save the cat moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, save the cat.
If
Which
there's one thing I
when you were a
learned,
student, right?
If there's one thing I learned from your class, it's save the cat, which I still have.
So that was it. Yeah. So hopefully we'll have the end image. Will be this. He'll come back at the very end, so we can bookend it. Yeah.
The cat's journey. Well, great to see you, man. I'm glad we decided to we could finally do this, and I haven't seen you in so long. It's been I saw you at the last. It was the last Theater of Arts showcase. I was there, so I saw you briefly, as well as some Theater of Arts teachers like Nicolette and Alex Feldman and
the good old days of Theatre of Arts. Yeah. Which we are going to bring back.
Wait,
but in
what?
a different way. We are bringing back. Yes, breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be. It's not going to be a conservatory. It's going to actually be for continued training for actors, and try and rebuild that community, which I think is what it was. Real thing was. So we are going to start that early 2026, so that you can do acting workshops of different types, and hang out with other actors, basically, and writers.
Is that going to be separate from LA Pack?
It is. It's going to be separate from LA Pack. It's going to be its own entity, which we are going to do. I mean, LA Pack has now moved into what Theatre of Arts was.
Used to
Here's
be,
my
right?
cat. And just say hello to everybody and then go for a little walk.
Oh, so cute.
Go for a wander now. There's 4 others who might want to join in at some point. So we're going to rebuild that, and we're working on that right now. So we're quite excited about that, because I felt like there's a gap, for maybe for us teachers there's a gap, but there's also a gap that we felt like of community and for people to do continued education, basically.
Yeah, 100%. No, that's one of the things that I loved about going to that school is the community. I mean, I've made some of my best friends from going to that school. One of them, which as Charlie Velasco.
Velasco. And he was before your time, wasn't he? Was he?
He was. He was, I think, a year ahead of me. But and I think by the time I was attending the school, he had already graduated. But he was still going to like the shows and going to like the comedy nights at the Arena Theater. And
that's what we're doing. That's what I miss, and we are going to do the comedy nights. We've already started those at LA Pack, so we're already doing those, which is great, and we get great comedians coming along, because comedians just want to do shows, don't they? Especially in Hollywood. Yeah. So that's great. So that's all continuing, and then TOA is going to come back as well. So, but in a slightly different way. It's not going to be the conservatory where you get a certificate at the end and all that. All the stuff that was difficult to manage.
Right.
Yeah. It's good. Yeah. Like, I don't have to deal with government agencies and all that kind of stuff, which I don't want to do. Quite frankly, there was some parts of that job I was going, I don't want to do this. But
so we'll I want to backtrack a bit, and then we'll continue into the Theatre of Arts conversation, because that came a little bit later into your life. You started off as an actor. You were training at the West End Theatre in London, is that right?
I love you think it's the West End Theatre. The West End is basically like Broadway. I have been on the West End. I went to Mount View, which is a drama school in London. Before that, I was at Leicester, I did performing arts. So I did a 3-year degree there, and then I did a postgraduate at drama school. And both those places, I mean, like the people that they have turned out of those places, I was very like my group alone. I mean, I'm plugging everybody else now. Alex Lowe, I'm going to go, who any Brits will know, is Clinton Baptiste, and he's playing the Palladium in February, which I'm going to go over to see.
Oh.
I mean,
Oh, wow. Okay.
He's a very successful comedian. Justin Chadwick turned out to be a very successful film director. We were all in a group of just 14. Nick Murphy, very successful TV director, which you've probably seen his stuff on Amazon, Netflix, HBO, and all that kind of stuff. Christine, I mean, I could go on. Miltos was in Game of Thrones. Christine, what is she's just she does a lot of radio in Britain. Radio's a big deal in Britain. So that group of people were actually incredibly successful. And then drama school there's only I think there was only at that time there was only 14 drama schools which were accredited, and there's even less now because a few of them have dropped off. And
why do you think that is?
It was a big deal. There's a few reasons. You know, like to rent a space in London like that. I know a little bit like that about LA, but to rent that, you've got to really have the money. I know that I think one drama school, their lease ran out. Another school had a little bit of a scandal. Any whiff of scandal, and it's over.
And it's over. Yeah,
it's over. So I think I know of 1, 2, 3. 3 of them have gone now, at least.
Oh my gosh.
Which is a shame, because when I was there, it was 7,000 people for 14 places at Mount View. I went over to meet them when I was running TOA, and I think that number has gone up to this is 18,000 to 20,000 people for 14 places.
Oh my gosh.
And there's less of those places because the schools are closing down. So it's highly competitive to get into there.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it sounds like it. Yeah, for something like that to happen, it sounds like it would just make it even more so competitive.
Well, now you've got less and less chance. I mean, the world is changing and about how actors are trained. So, but that for me was my start. And then they give you an equity card, just for going to the school, which is nice, isn't it? Yeah. And, you know, I worked okay. I did okay, actually. Yeah, my first job was in Spain doing English speaking theatre. My first year of work was all weekly rep. Can you imagine that? I had to do a play a week. You basically used to start on a Monday, you'd start rehearsals. The following Monday, that play was up and running. And then that Tuesday, you're rehearsing for the next place. You got less rehearsal, and that's up the following Monday. Did that.
That's like the Saturday Night Live of theater.
I mean, that's how it used to be. It used to be weekly rep. I mean, and the truth is they'd get the younger actors to do the lead parts because you've got those young brains that can take stuff in, and then they get the old stars would come in and just like steal a scene, and it'd be absolutely amazing. Going, oh yeah, all right, everyone loves him, but he's got one scene. Whereas the young actors, I remember just like at rehearsals, you felt like you've got so many scripts in your heads that you have to. I used to carrying them around, going, right, I've got to get that one down, that one down, that one down. Which play are we doing tonight? And then it would rotate.
Yeah.
So I did that, and it's a great that in a way was a great training because you had to learn
sounds like
lines.
The best training. Yeah.
Well, you've just got to learn it and go. You just go, right, we're up on Monday night. And then you stop getting so nervous because you go, well, how many opening nights can you do? Yeah, you're doing it so often. Yeah, it's a muscle. Yeah. So that was the very start. And then I did, when you talked about the West End, I did, which was not a school. I love to think that it was a school. But it's like the equivalent of Broadway. I did that in the mid-90s. I did the West End. I started off as an understudy, and then I was understudying TV stars at the time. So they used to go off and do their TV shows, and I would find myself on the stage and then signing autographs backstage. And then the next night I'd come backstage and I would be completely ignored. But because that's the nature of the beast.
And selling sandwiches from the back of your car.
I did do that. Yeah. I remember saying in the mid-90s, I remember saying to my agent, enough of this theatre lot. I need to do TV and film now. And he went, yeah. I spent the next year doing my pen and selling sandwiches. But I did sell sandwiches to like quite cool people. Like Simon Cowell was one of my customers. He was very nice. He was very nice to me. Yeah, before he was... I mean, before he was Mr. X Factor and Mr.
American Idol.
Yeah. Before he was American Idol, he was just a guy who worked in a record company looking after a lot of music stars. And he always bought my sandwiches and always had a chat with him. And then I remember years later going, that's the guy who bought sandwiches off me. He's on TV now. And he's like, yeah. So it's kind of amazing who I bumped into. And I remember, and it's funny because when I was selling sandwiches, which was a bit of a rough time in my life because I felt like I was never going to work again. I had to do an article. I didn't have to do it, but one of the newspapers in England had put me on one of the talents to watch because I'd just been on the West End the year before, and they said, "Oh, a year later, well, we're getting in touch. We want to see what you're doing now." And I thought, I can't tell them I'm selling sandwiches. I went, "Well, yeah, things are going great. So much in the pipeline." I went, "Great. We're going to give you a car." And you're going to drive it around and tell us what you think about it. And then we're going to take photographs of you, the car, and we're going to talk about your great career. So I went, what do I do with this flash car? So I used the flash car to go and sell sandwiches out of it. I never said that to the newspaper, to the journalist. I just said, "Oh yeah, I was just partying like a rock star."
What kind of car was it?
I can't even remember now. I just remember it was silver. And I remember it really annoying someone because I was selling sandwiches and they go, "How can your sandwich man afford this?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah. It's not really mine. I've been given it by this newspaper for a week. I've just got to drive it around." Yeah.
The crazy things we do. And
well, I think it just shows how it's smoke and mirrors because I think that because then there was a huge sort of like article about me about like, where is he now? Kind of like, and it was just all lies. It was always going, yeah, he's got so much going in the pipeline. And I'm thinking, I can't get an audition. But I didn't want to say that to a journalist. So I was going, oh yeah, now just taking the time to work out what's the next best move. And the next best move was basically like, do you want tuna with that, or do you want a cheese sandwich? Which would you rather have?
Yeah. And then so I wanted to ask you though, when you were growing up, what got you into wanting to be a performer? Were you surrounded were there like artists in your family?
No one in my family was. I think the truth is, and it might sound a bit weird for people who know me now, didn't know me. I think I was actually incredibly shy, and the only class, if you look at my school report, from the age of sort of like, I don't know, 4 to 16, it's just like he never opened his mouth, don't know what to do, apart from one class, and that was drama. That was the only class where I actually used to come alive, and I loved it, and I thought, this is great. And then I think it was like when I was 16, someone was like it was my drama teacher said, Clive Woodman said, you could actually do this for a living, And I'm like, what? And then he gave me an application for the National Youth Theatre of Great Britain. And I was 16. I was living in a little village outside Cambridge, and I applied. I had to go to London by myself for the first time, which was a huge deal. I remember getting on the train, getting off the train and going, walking around London thinking, don't get killed, because that's what happens in London. And then auditioning, and I got in. And that was incredible, because then suddenly at 16, I had to suddenly like find somewhere to live in London. And I would, and again, a lot of those guys went on to great things. I mean, I don't know if you've heard of a guy called like Daniel Craig. I mean, he did all right.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. Well, I remember there was a new James Bond at the time, and he came in to talk to us and said, hey, I was at the National Youth Theatre. Who knows? Maybe the next James Bond's in this room. And you're sort of looking around going, I wonder if that'd be amazing, wouldn't it? And Daniel Craig was in that room. Wow. And there's quite a few of them from that period that did really, really well. And then, then I was on the West End when I was 17 years old. Because 16 they're training. At 17, I actually did my first play on the West End, which was, to me, was it was a huge deal, and that's when I thought, this is it. I'm going to be an actor. I'm going to spend the rest of my life being an actor. And I did. Really.
Were your parents supportive? Did you face any? Did you have to overcome?
I think they just thought it was all a bit weird. Really. I mean, up until my mid-40s, my mum was always going, "When are you going to get a proper job?" They never really. They were support. They were like. I think they kind of half enjoyed it. I think they were like, "This is fun, bit weird," but there was all this like, you are going to get a proper job. You are going to get a teacher training certificate, are you? You're going to do something like that is going to pay the rent. This isn't it. And sometimes they were right, really. I mean, there was a lot of times but then again, my first film was because of my father, because he was working in a mental hospital, and he said, "Oh, look, I've got to do this conference, and I've got a budget for it. Could you do something and like film something?" And I think what he was expecting at that time, this is in '96, was to do he said, like, get a little video cam and get a few actors together. Well, I kind of took it literally, and we shot a movie on 16 millimeter. I mean, I think it was a 15-minute movie, and then it got into all these, and it got into all these festivals, and it was like, then I thought, oh, this is cool. This is, and then it was on TV, and it was like, oh, this is really cool. So I went from, that was after my year of selling sandwiches, which I thought I was never going to work again, and then I went from that to directing.
Your dad's
my dad, yeah. Well, it was great because I thought, this is great, because we had an empty ward in a mental hospital. It just looked so, I took down a DP that I'd met, and he went, "This is so cinematic. We could do some really incredible stuff with this."
Yeah,
and
totally.
we shot it on film, and got all our, my actor friends who were all out of work, obviously, and desperate to do it, and we put it together, and it became the start of something, really, that was great. That was really cool.
And fantastic.
And then the next film we made, which we actually made it on our credit cards, took us around the world, because that was a feature film. I mean, we went to the Cannes Film Festival, went to Montreal. But this is why I moved to America, because I was coming to America so often with it. That was kind of incredible that, that we were basically having to go around the world on the back of this film. And even then, my parents were like, "What?" I remember like having to, we got chosen as one of the best British films of the year by the French. Funny enough. So that was, I don't know what that means, but the French said this is one of the best films of the year. So they flew us over, and that was my parents. I couldn't get them to come to London to see the film. But they would go to France. So we went to France, flew them over, stayed in a 5-star hotel. And I think that's when I went, but they hated the film. So,
did they?
Yeah. My mother, I'll never forget, like, coming out of the cinema. Well, first of all, it was the same year as the Full Monty, right? So all that, I don't know if you know that movie, but all that lot were going into the cinema at the same time. And, I had to go and make a speech, and as a French interpreter, and I remember, I could see it out of all those probably like hundreds of people in there. All I could see was my mum going, "Oh, don't make a fool of yourself. Don't do that." And then afterwards, I couldn't sit down and watch it. I was too nervous. So I walked around this French town, which was very nice, and then came back, timed it to come back for the end of the movie, came back. I was surrounded by photographers, which was like, "Oh, David, this way. And then my mother came out and went, "Oh," I said, "That's my mum." And she said, "Oh, David, I hated it. It was awful." And I was like, "Oh my God, I've just had the biggest moment of my career." And my mother says, "Let's go around the corner and get a cup of tea and never talk about it again."
Yeah, let me talk you out of it.
Yeah. But she did like our second film, The Understudy, which was for some reason, and then we took that film around, and then we went back to my hometown, Cambridge. We premiered it there, which I thought was a nice idea, which a dangerous idea, because then there's like family and friends who could take it apart. But my mother turned around to me after the end of the film and going, "Oh, here we go." And she goes, "That's 12.5 times better than your last film." I don't know how she got that percentage, but she decided it was 12.5 times better. And that film, we made that film in New York. And so I'm wondering if there was a bit of distance. It wasn't English. It was American with American actors and really cool actors. And, you know, I think that seemed like it was real. And then I think that's when my parents said, "Oh yeah, maybe you can do this." But I just hit 40. At 40, they went, "Yeah, maybe you can do that. Maybe we're going to stop saying you should."
20 years later.
Yeah.
Hey,
no, I mean, they were great though. They did come and watch a lot. Like whenever I was in theatre, they were always there. You know, fantastic, really fantastic. But it wasn't their world. It was totally not their world.
Yeah.
There was no one around me when I was younger. There was no one that I could go. Well, there was one person actually. There was one person, Edward Bond, who was quite a famous British playwright, and I knew him bizarrely because I worked in the local fruit shop when I used to sell him fruit. And I'm thinking, that's Edward Bond. He's like one of the most famous playwrights in Britain. And he was brilliant with me. He'd come and buy oranges. And and everyone knew I wanted to be an actor. And I remember when I got into the National Youth Theatre, and he gave me some great advice. He just said, he sent me, plays that he'd written, and he wrote this letter to me, and he said, he said, "Do in your career, what I want to see you do is really brilliant stuff or really bad stuff that you make. Because if you do really bad stuff, everyone knows you're doing it for the money. But never do mediocre." And I've kind of thought that was good advice.
Actually. Yeah, that's good advice.
Yeah. So do the shit and do the brilliant stuff, but don't do the mediocre stuff. He said, "Otherwise people will think you're mediocre." So I went, "Okay, it's good advice."
No, thanks. Now I'm going to use that.
No, I thought it was great. He was. I mean, he died about 2 years ago. I wasn't in touch with him towards the end, but I mean, if you look him up, he was a great playwright. He used to write great essays as well, which I used to read a lot. A lot of his plays were at the National Theatre, and he'd pull them and say, "I don't know, I don't want you've messed it up." And he liked working with really young actors because he felt like they hadn't been polluted as much. So that's why I think he kind of took to me a little bit. But he was the only, at that time, he was like, that was like, "Oh, I was thinking, God, you've made it. You're a big, famous playwright." So that was quite cool. And just living in a village, which was kind of bizarre and weird that he lived in the same village. Right. So that was cool. But then it kind of go on, and then what did you want to ask me? what have you found out?
Absolutely nothing. No, I was, well, please finish your thought, because
no, I was going to say, but then I suppose like my life did change because of also who I married, because she grew up in a completely different way. She was brought up around artists. Her parents were her father, incredibly successful composer, a world-renowned composer and a very famous actress. And that would, to me, I think that gave me that going, "Oh, you're human. Oh, wow. Yeah, you can be." And then because all their friends were all the people that I'd seen on TV or in movies, and you're like having dinner with them, and that to me was kind of like bizarre. A moment. Yeah, it was bizarre. But it's also like, oh, this is. I mean, like my second date, was going to see Paul McCartney, and then having a chat with him afterwards, going, "Oh my God, you're a Beatle." So that's that. So the worlds were clashing.
Yeah. You met Paul and I met Ringo.
Did you? Ringo? Yeah. Well, Ringo. When he came through TOA a couple of years ago, were you there?
Oh, did he? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he used our office, the TOA office, to relax.
I had no idea.
Because they were doing the staff for somebody, and they came in and went, "Peace."
I went, I need peace and love.
Yeah, Ringo. Yes, I loved him. Yeah, great.
Oh, I was gonna ask you. So then, what was the transition into stand-up comedy?
I was doing stand up bizarrely when I was at college.
Hmm.
So I did start at college, just like I did it. We did a comedy show, like, so I'm talking about 1990. How long ago? So I did a stand up, and so I did my first stand up set then. Then I went to drama school, and I was like, no, now I'm a serious actor. And actually, after that year of selling sandwiches, I realized how, because I had some lucky breaks early on, but not
Hmm.
big enough. The breaks weren't big enough to make me famous or to sustain it. So my lucky breaks was just like working for a long period of time as an actor in theatre. So that was
Right.
good for a couple, 2 or 3 years. But then I had a very lean spell, and then it hit me, or someone asked me to go and do some corporate entertainment, which is weird, where you just go to people's parties and company
Hmm.
parties, and we were doing murder mysteries and all this kind of stuff, but with a microphone. So I
Oh,
had to
so
go back to
you're
it, and
hosting it.
I was hosting it. I was telling jokes, and I did that for years, and I did that. And then I was doing bizarrely shopping centres. I was doing all these corporate places and shopping centres. And so I spent a lot of time behind a microphone, but I didn't really do the clubs or anything like that, because I saw that at that point, it was a means to making a living. I had to make money
Yeah.
and to stay alive. And I did okay. I did okay. Um, and
So
I
then
didn't,
you weren't really working on material? Like it was just kind of improvised.
I was improvising
It
a
was
lot,
okay,
but you
right?
know what? I learned to have stuff in my back pocket. I had a
Mm,
lot. I mean, if you saw me several times, you'd realize, oh, it's the same shtick. I had
yeah,
my go-to stuff.
yeah.
Um, and then I've had two stand-up careers, because then I came to the US on the back of a movie in 2004, and then the, things went. I had a great run, and and then it stopped in 2000. It stopped about 2009, and I was like, oh God, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And in about
Hmm.
2010, I thought, stand up. Let's go back to stand up. And I did. I did a class with Jerry Corley, because I had to. It was like learning a new language over here. And then 6 weeks after that, or maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe it was 8 weeks or whatever, I was in Las Vegas telling jokes
Wow.
at the World Series of Comedy, and I got
Okay.
booked immediately. And then I was kind of on the road doing a lot, and that's when I was really, there was a 2-3 year period where I was really building material, and I was on the road, because I thought, this is what I've got to do. I've got to graft, try and make a living out of this. And I was
Right.
doing that for quite a long time.
So you weren't really doing open mics like when
No,
you
I didn't.
first started.
I did very few open mics.
Okay.
The problem is with open mics for me is, like, I get it, is that comedians are going there to try and
Work stuff out.
work stuff out, but it's not a real audience.
Yeah.
So I
Right.
did a lot of competitions, because I thought that's a free audience.
Hmm.
And also, it broke me into markets like Seattle. I did the Seattle International Comedy Competition. I did the San Francisco, the World Series. I would go to different places to do the World Series of Comedy. So not only Vegas, I did Minneapolis. So then I would basically could play those areas, San Diego, Chicago. I would
Yeah.
target those areas, do the competition, and then the bookers would see me, and I would invariably get a booking. I used to think it was basically to get booked, so that I would
Right.
justify it, going, all right, I never expected to win the competition. I never really did, but I always got booked. So sometimes there would be the winner going, I've won. And I'm going, yeah, but I've got a booking. And that to me was more important, because
Yeah.
then I could actually justify it, because I was actually getting paid to be there.
And what a
So,
great way to travel in a new country.
yeah. I mean, I realized at one point I think I've done 21 states. I've done a lot of states. I mean, up until the pandemic, I was traveling a lot. that changed everything. Though I haven't toured since the pandemic. So,
David, what's the story? What's the story you told us of? I think you were performing at a casino, and there were these kind of redneck hicks that were.
Oh my words! Yeah. Well, the things when you're at casinos, you have to. A lot of the times they're very strict. Like you have to dress up like in a suit and all that. And there's all these. So this was like 2011, I think it was. So, as a younger guy, I looked like James Bond because we're the same age and wearing the same suit. And you're going out there and I was in this casino. When you're playing casinos, they've got these huge theaters, but you can't see the audience. You just got you've got this spotlight on you.
It's pitch black.
And yeah, pitch black. Did the show, came out after the show. And this first girl came up to me and goes, "Oh, mate, can I have a photo?" And I went, "Yeah, sure, no problem." And then her husband goes, "Oh, you know each other?" I went, "I don't know. How do I know?" And she goes, "Yeah, we slept together." And I went, "What? That didn't happen? What are you talking about?" And she goes, "Yeah, in my town in Canada." I go, "Well, where do you live in Canada for a start?" And she told me this time. I said, "I've never been there. Never. That didn't happen. That's weird." Sorry. And I said to the husband, and he's taking a photo. I'm going, "It didn't happen." I thought, she goes, "Well, apparently," she goes, "well, you look like it." Well, it wasn't me. All right. Just, yeah. Anyway. And then two other girls came up and said, "Can we have a photo?" I went, "Yeah, as long as you're not weird." Anyway,
as long as I didn't sleep with you.
Yeah. Anyway. These two girls, they lean into me, have their photo taken. And then this guy with roided out muscles wearing like a wife beater came in, bundled me out of the way and goes, "Get your hands off my wife." I went, "Whoa, all right. This is weird." I said, "No more photos. I'm going to the bar." He goes, "I'm going to have you asshole." I went, all right, bro. Guys, I went to that bar, had a drink, and I said to the other comedian, "Can we get out of here?" He goes, "No, because we get free drinks all night." I went, "Oh, God, all right." I had a couple of beers, and then I'm thinking, I'll go to the restroom. I went to the restroom, and the door shut behind me, and I'm surrounded by these rednecks who go, "We're going to beat your ass." And I was going, "Can I just have a pee first?"
Take a piss first.
I go, why do you want to beat my ass? They're going, "You think you're funny?" I go, "That's my job description. What's what I'm supposed to do?" "You've been making our girls laugh all night." Good, isn't that? That's what.
That's part of the
job. We're going to kick you in. Anyway, I did the manly thing. I saw a gap in the doorway and I ran through it and I sprinted through this casino chased by these rednecks. And then I bumped into this tribe of Native Americans who were there, and they were like going, "Hey, you're the funny Brit." I went, "I'm glad you think so." And they said, "Oh, our chief wants to meet you." I went, "Oh." Anyway, these guys, they just literally came to a halt and they went, "God damn, hey, you're a pussy." I went, "What do you mean?" "Hey, now you're surrounded by those guys." Okay. "Oh, really? Now I got friends? It was all you and me." Anyway, they looked after me. They took me to the chief. And he goes, "Always wanting to meet a Brit." And I went, "Great." He goes, "Loved your jokes about immigration." I went, "Oh, great. Yeah, good. And he goes, he said, "Everybody here, they're all rebels apart from you and us." He said, "Because the Brits, they made a deal with us that they wouldn't cross the Appalachian Mountains," which I had to look up later on and go, at the time I went, "Good. Yep. We never did." No. And he goes, "These guys." I went, "Oh, yeah." So he looked after me. Every time I went to the restroom, I went with these guys, and they were like 7 foot, and all these rednecks going, "You're a pussy." I went, "Yeah." Yeah. And at the end of the night, a big phalanx, they got me out to the parking lot, sent us on our way. It's great. Yeah. So, yeah. And and this is how desperate things get. I thought I should probably not play that place again in case it repeats. But I did because I needed the money. But I took my wife with me. So she was my protection. Okay. So as soon as I came out, I went, "Come on, love. Yeah, no photographs. We're just going to go and have dinner and go home." Go back to the hotel.
What city was this in? Sounds like it was like in the Southwest or something.
Mesquite, which is
that?
It's in the middle of it. You go to Vegas. Keep going, and it's right on the edge. And the reason, and when you get to that town, there's nothing there other than this huge casino, and it's right on the edge of Arizona and Utah so that they can cross the border and go to this huge thing. And they bring in like bands, they bring in comedians, obviously. And, they've got this huge venue that you play. And it's, when you're up on that stage, you go, oh, this is really great. But the second time I was up there, I was going, yeah, this might be great, but I could die here. I actually thought I was going to die in the desert.
No, but then Chief Bromden came and protected you.
Thank you. Yeah. And I did look that up. Apparently the Brits did not cross the Appalachian. And my accent saved me. It literally, it almost got me into trouble, but ultimately it saved me that night. Yeah, but that made me, when I'm on the road now, that was the last night that I ever had a drink on the road. I never drink play wherever I go.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not drinking. People ask you for drinks. I can't.
Yeah, let me get you a shot, mate. Let's.
And so I just would go, no. And I would just literally go back to the room and just watch TV because I thought it is not worth it. And the one time I was tempted, I was in Montana with another comedian. He goes, and I came off stage and the waitress said, can I get you a drink? And I said, no, but thank you. Then the other comedian came on stage and she offered him a drink. And he goes, yeah, I'm going to have a drink. And I said, you go. So I've just got a rule. I went back to my room. Next day I saw him at breakfast and he had a black eye. One of the locals had beaten him up. I went, that's why I
go
back to, yeah. It was. Yeah. That's why I go back to the room. Your job is done. You've got paid. Go back, watch something on TV. You want to be out there. You want to be celebrating. And that's what's really weird, I think, being a road comic, is that I remember being in a town in Idaho, coming off stage, feeling like I've just killed it. Right. And I don't like that saying that, but I just knew the audience was
when
up on their feet, and it was just like, I'm going, oh my God. And then I thought, no one will know about it because we're in the middle of nowhere. It's like, do you know that the tree has fallen in the woods? I mean, that's what it felt like. Going back to my room and then just like going, texting my wife and going, hey, I just had a great night. Yeah, great. I'm going to bed. Yeah, okay. I'll talk tomorrow. Oh, do they have HBO in the room? Yeah, I mean, that's just that. It is that weird thing. Is it? I realize, and also because you're doing such long journeys, you're from town to town. Because when you're a road comic, a lot of the time they've got this deal that you've got to be so many miles apart that you would just drive. And the only time you actually saw people to talk to was the audience, and in between you're just driving. I remember one time, in between Montana and Idaho, counting cars because the radio stopped working. I couldn't get any reception on my phone. It was like so lonely. And I think I counted 6. And and you were just driving for it. And I stopped touring in the winter because it got so dangerous.
Sure. Yeah. Driving through slippery roads, driving through mountains.
Yeah. Worse than that. I mean, I remember one time getting into Seattle. And I was obviously renting the cheapest car I could get. And they said, where are you going? I said, well, Idaho, eventually. And they said, I can't in good conscience let you take this car. You won't survive. I went, all right. So I had to bump up to a Jeep. And I remember getting out to the border of Seattle, and these cops stopped me and said, you know what you're doing in the snow? I went, yeah, I'm English. I had no idea what I'm doing in the snow, but I thought I've got a show to do. And I then, for 6 hours, I'll never forget, behind me, they just, when they put those flames on the road, they just put flames on. I was the last car through. For the next 6 hours, I was just sliding across the road. And
you were hydroplaning,
Yeah, and I finally got to this place, Wenatchee, which was beautiful apparently, but I couldn't see it. And of course, no one turned up apart from the barman and so I did the show for about 3 people. But I turned up. And then the next day, I remember being in the diner attached, and I remember this one going, I hope you're not going anywhere today. I said, yeah, I'm going to Idaho today. And they went, no, you're not. And then these cops came over going, you won't even get out of the town. So I've got to. And I remember, actually, I was determined with this. I've got a Jeep. I'm fine. It was the most dangerous day of my life. I remember like going across and my GPS went blue and I realized that I'd just driven across a lake. Because it was just
without realizing it?
Because I couldn't see, just could not see. I was using the GPS to drive because it was white. It was just white.
Yeah.
And when I got reception, I rang up my wife and I gave her my coordinates and said, can you see where this storm is? And she says, you're not even in it yet. I got out and threw up because I thought I'm dead. I'm actually dead. And then the booker rang me up after 5 hours and said, I'm talking to your wife. We want you to turn back. And I said, there's no way.
There's no way. Yeah.
I've been driving
all this
for 5
way.
hours.
Yeah.
5 hours. I made it. I did this town, which was great. And then I had a great night, and then I had to get up the next day and do it all over again. And I remember there was 3 cars going out. They were reps or something, and they said we tossed to see who would go first. We said one go in front and one go behind. I was in last place, and I thought, oh, fantastic, because I can just follow their tracks. But of course, the car froze over, and I couldn't see out of it. And I will never forget stopping and seeing, it was like Fargo, seeing them just go into the distance. And I looked around and there were some horses in the field. And I kid you not, they had about a foot of snow on their head. And they looked at me like, what are you doing here? You know, and I was trying to scrape the ice off. And then I was on my own again. I thought, I'm on my own. No radio, no signal. And then I thought I'll come off on the first town. I came off in the first town and the car just went, just spam. I went into this store and there was a woman with a flashlight and she goes, we don't have any electricity. I went, how, so where's the next town? It's another 150 miles. Oh my God. So it was mad. And and then I got to that next town. I was there for 3 nights, I think it was. And I had a great time. Every night I was just killing it again. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. But but I was snowed in. I was just snowed in. And then I can't believe I made it home alive. Probably should have done that one. But then I did have a booker who once, he offered me, I was on tour and then another gig came up, but it was about 500. And I said, yeah, I'll do it. And he says, and then he rang me up. He said, you've had too many lives with me. I do not want to be making that phone call to your wife. So no, you're not doing it. And then I got, and my reward was I got the summer tours.
Okay.
Which was really, and then I'm seeing the same places and it's stunning, absolutely stunning.
Right. Because you can see them. It's not snowing.
Oh my God. It was beautiful. Beautiful.
You're not driving on a lake.
Yeah. So, I was like going, oh, it wasn't like this last time I was here. I was just gripping the wheel going, don't die. Yeah.
Oh, that's what I was driving on? Okay, David, we have a little bit of time left. There's so much. I have so much written down here that I want to ask you, but we're running out of time. Cooper's Bar. Tell me a little bit about that briefly.
Okay, so Cooper's Bar, I'm good friends with Lou Mastillo. When he had a bar in his backyard, and we used to be drinking there. And my wife Hannah said, "This should be a show." And he went, "All right." He says, "But I don't want to do a reality show. Go away and write it." So I was at the Comedy Store with my friend Nick Morton, who also worked in TV, and I said, "I'm going to write it." He goes, "It sounds mad." Okay, but I'll work with you on it. We had a podcast at the time together, so we went and wrote it, and Lou said, yeah, sure, let's do it. And then our friend Rhea Seehorn said, she said, oh, well, I'll do it. Yeah. So we just all got together, did it, shot the pilot. We shot it because my wife was working for a company at the time that could afford to say, hey, look, we've got a crew, let's just shoot it. Got into a few festivals. And then the pandemic came. So we couldn't go to those festivals. We couldn't go to South by Southwest. I was gutted. So then I had the ticket and an Airbnb, and I thought, thinking, oh, my life, it's my art. But actually, it turned out to be such a silver lining because then everyone saw it. because everyone was at home.
Because everyone's at home.
Going,
yeah.
They turned it into a YouTube thing, and I was going, "This is mad. It's just like watching it on your computer." And then we got Serious Fest came along and said, "Hey, we just saw your show at South by Southwest. Can we have it?" Yeah, I suppose so. What else are we going to do? Yeah, and then Evan Shapiro was on the panel, and he said, out of all the shows, the only one that I would pick up would be Cooper's Bar, because it has diversity, it has jokes, and it's got a ready-made star in Rhea Seehorn. Because Better Call Saul was going through the roof during the pandemic as well. So Hannah DM'd him and went, "Hey, we're behind Cooper's Bar." He goes, "Okay, I could walk this into AMC tomorrow." AMC just took it off the table.
Yeah.
Instantly picked it up. And lo and behold, we had a TV show. Ray was nominated for an Emmy. We were suddenly nominated for these prestigious awards. And suddenly we had a half-hour TV show on the air, which was kind of incredible, actually. And then because of, we all knew people. Most people in it were comedians. Whitney Cummings, Anna O'Connor. Who am I missing out? Casey Washington was in it, of course. And then Patrick Fabian joined us. I mean, we had a really stellar cast, and we had so much fun working on it. AMC were brilliant to work for. They just let us go. They just you'd get it and they go, "No, this is great. Just go as edgy as you want. Go edgier."
Wow.
Great. I mean, what people tell you, it was just great. I mean, and the most difficult thing was we had to do, I mean, I don't care. We were having to do night shoots, which are tough. So filming it was tough, but we had a blast. We got away with it. I felt we had to work very hard, but I thought it was just great for us.
And so, and then this was, no, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and now Ray has now got Pluribus and is now just the most famous actress on the planet this weekend. It's just incredible, just seeing how someone has transitioned on. But we'd all known each other for years. We'd all we'd known each other for a long time before we did all this, which just shows it's just I mean, it is a little bit of who you know, but it's it's relationships, and we all trusted each other.
Absolutely.
We all went, "Oh, let's do it. Let's have a night." You could be on the set going, "Hey, what about if you do this and I do that?" "Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, let's try it." Yeah, it was very collaborative.
You, and then you actually also have your own podcast, Surviving the Dream.
I do, Surviving the Dream with Casey Arnold.
Right.
Yeah, and we get people from different walks of life, and we talk about their dream jobs. What it's like how they survive it, and you hear different stories. And some of them are very similar, but it's not just famous actors. We had an airline pilot, we had a doctor, we have somebody who worked for NASA. I mean, Ray came on it, of course, fantastic. We had rock stars coming. I mean, it's just and then sometimes you find out that people, it's not their perfect. It's not what they wanted to do. It's not their dream. They want something else. And then other people go, "Actually, I found my dream, and it was this." So it's kind of that's been great. So we did 50 episodes of that. So I think we had a lot of fun, And I found and I was just finding out things about people. Going, "You do what? Oh my God, how did you get there?" That was really cool.
Yeah, that's why I like doing this. That's why I like doing this show, is because I mean, I learned so much. And I mean, it's the show is geared towards people who work in the arts and entertainment industry, and it's, for the most part, it's been people that I know, because I've been fortunate to go to a theater of arts school where I met, I networked with people, and it also helps me kind of open my eyes and learn about other people's journeys. And then not that I compare it, but I go, "Oh, well, if they could do it, I could do it." I
noticed the one quote. Yeah. The one question I always ask at the end is if you won the lottery, what would you do? 90% of them would say they would do exactly what they're doing. And that's the answer, isn't it?
That's the answer.
So, there might be 10% who go, oh, really? And I'm going, yeah, it's the big one. I'm going, oh, in that case, I'm retired. But very few. Most of them will go, oh, no, I'd still be a doctor. Oh, I'd still fly planes. Oh, I'd still work at NASA. Well, it's that's kind of interesting to me. So I think it is about finding what you want to do with your life.
Do you real quick? Do you when you're a producer or when you're working on a project, are there things like what do you look for in terms of actors? Like, what makes you want to work with someone or bring someone onto a project?
Yeah, that's really interesting, actually, because we had to cast Cooper's Bar, and it's quite tough. When I'm looking, like I was there, I mean, the casting director for that, Elizabeth Borkovich, was amazing, right? Because we'd see the top 20, but she would see thousands of people. She would be sieving through them. By the time we got to the top 20, we were like, oh my God, who's it going to be? And any of them could have been good. Anybody. That they're authentic, that they're believable, and that they actually because I wrote that, I'm going, oh my God, they've done something with it that I thought that's better, that's great. Not that they'd rewritten it, but they made me believe it, right? In fact, if someone rewrote it, you're going, I didn't trust it. Oh, right. Oh, maybe. Yeah. And that makes you doubt yourself a little bit.
So it's in the choices that they make in the dialogue.
100%. Yeah. So they make some choices that you go, oh, they're great. And then you start asking the questions like the casting, what's this person like? Because you're going to have to spend time with them on the set.
Yeah.
And you want to know that actually, when it's 4:00 in the morning, are we going to be all right? When it's really cold, it's 4:00 in the morning, and we've got to keep going for another 3 hours. Are we going to be okay when the lights have started breaking and the crew has started getting cranky? Because I think sometimes part of the actor's job is to keep Whitney Cummings is brilliant in this. She keeps the atmosphere going. She just is telling jokes between takes. Yeah. And you go, well,
she's hilarious.
And I'm thinking, why are you wasting it? Oh no, she's actually making sure that the crew's they love her. They love her because they're going, oh, this is for us. This is just for us. She's our friend, she's making us laugh all the time. I'm going for another take. Oh, brilliant. And then that take ends and it's not like, oh God, we've got to go. It's going, oh, this is great. So I learned a lot from that. I went, oh, it's about creating the atmosphere on set as well, that it's a nice place to be. And you want to be working with people like that.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, and I think this will be the last thing we say, because I know you have a hard out at 7.
I'm sorry. We'll have a part 2 if you want.
Yeah, we'll have a part 2. I would love to. But but that reminds me of like when I was working on my short film. I mean, I saw all these brilliant actors too, and then it came down to 2 actors. One of them, because we were casting the part for Paul Tibbets. He's the captain of the Enola Gay plane that dropped the bomb in Hiroshima. And he had the look, comedy. He had the attitude. Yeah, it was comedy. It was a great comedy. He had the look, he had the attitude. His acting chops were fitting, but he just read too old. Paul Tibbets was 30 years old. Right. This guy was, probably in his, early to mid 60s. I'm like, he just reads too old. And then the other actor, Aaron, who we cast, he looked the part. He auditioned, the first audition he gave us, he did a good job, but it wasn't quite what we were looking for. But I had a gut feeling. I told my director, Adrian, I said, Adrian, I have a feeling with this actor, if we give him a second chance, if you give him the direction, he's going to listen and he'll take it in. So he's like, okay, so we did. So we gave him another shot. He killed it. He listened to and then I was like, this is our guy.
I mean, I learned that from TOA, actually, is when I was choosing actors for TOA. I used to think that you've got to be passionate about it and they've got to be able to take direction. The rest will work out.
Yeah.
To be honest, you've got to know that if they take direction. The difficulty with Cooper's Bar casting is that, unfortunately, it's the self-tape era, so you don't really get that opportunity to find out if they can take direction, because you just got to go on, this is the tape we've got. I actually would rather work with an actor and go, and when I was directing movies, that was when it really, I thought, oh, this is great. I can work out in a room going, yeah, they take direction. We're going to be fine. We're going to be fine.
Well, listen, David, it was a privilege and honor. It was great seeing you. I love talking. I would love if we could do a part 2. I still have so many fucking questions for you that I did not get into.
Anytime
I would
you
love
want.
to have you back, man.
I'm available all week. Anytime you want.
Yeah, maybe we could even do it in person too.
I'd love that.
Our studios in Santa Clarita. I'll pick you up. You and I don't live far from each other.
I'll be good. All right, and my cat should probably come and say goodbye. But thank you so much for getting me on the show. I love this. Thank you.
No, man. Yeah, it was brilliant. Thanks again, and I'll see you soon.
See you soon. All right. Take care, Alex. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, man.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe so you'll get notifications when new episodes drop. Thanks to my guest, David Conolly. Music by Mark Fabian. Produced and engineered by Robert Altschiller. Recorded at Command Recording Studios. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at Kill the Small Talk Podcast and at Command_Recording_Studios. We'll see you next time. Bye.